Hello, and welcome to St. James and St. Brendan Story Hour. Today, we're going to be listening to a story which is a little bit different than reading a story. You're going to have to make up the pictures in your head. Today, we're going to hear the story of how Brer Rabbit outsmarted the frogs. This is a very old story, and it was collected by an author by the name of Joel Chandler Harris. It's now in public domain, so anyone who would like to take the book and read it or tell the story is welcome to do that. So here's the story of how Brer Rabbit outsmarted the frogs. Brer Rabbit was a wonderful fisherman. Oh my, he could go down to the big river, and inside of 5 minutes, why, he'd catch 4, 5, 6 fish. He was a wonderful fisherman. Now, Brer Rabbit's good friend was Brer Raccoon, and Brer Raccoon didn't like fish. He liked frogs. So every day he'd go down by the big river with Brer Rabbit, and he'd go in the tall grass, and he'd pick the frogs out of the tall grass and put them in his sack. And when he had enough in his sack, he'd throw them over his shoulder and he'd go on home and put them on the back porch. And his wife would come out and she'd open the sack and she'd say, "Ooh, frogs." She liked frogs too. Now, the only one in this situation that didn't quite like it was the frogs. They decided they were going to have a meeting one day because, well, Brer Raccoon kept coming round. They all got together, and one frog sat up on a big stump, and he said, "Now you got to listen here. We got a problem with Brer Raccoon coming and catching us all." Yeah, we do, said the little frogs. "We's got to do something." They thought about it, and they thought about it. Well, they came up with a solution. They needed a frog that had big eyes, so he could see Brer Raccoon coming from afar. They needed a frog that had big ears, so they could hear him from a mile away. But the most important thing they needed was a frog with a big voice. Well, sir, the only frog that fit those qualifications was the bullfrog. So they put the bullfrog up by the big road just to let him know when Brer Raccoon was on his way. Well, it didn't take too long. The bullfrog sitting on the road heard Brer Raccoon coming from afar. He looked up over the side of the road, and there he was, coming down the road from a mile away. That's when he commenced on calling. "Here he comes. Here he comes. Here he comes." Well, sir, all them other frogs, they heard him, and they ran down and they got in the water. By the time Brer Raccoon got down there, they was all swimming around. Brer Raccoon, he can't swim. Well, sir, that went on all day. Then went on the next day, no frogs. The day after that, no frogs. Went on 4 days, no frogs. 5 days, no frogs. Brer Raccoon had to take his empty sack home and put it on the back porch. And he opened up the door to go in the house, and all of a sudden, oh! His wife was standing inside the door, and she hit him on the head with the broomstick. "What are you coming home with no frogs for?" she said. "Oh," he said, "I can't catch frogs no more. They's gone wild down there." "What do you mean they's gone wild? You caught them before, you can catch them now." "Oh, no, they got this frog there, and every time I get down there, he starts singing out, 'Here he comes, here he comes, here he comes.' And then when I get down there, they's all in the water. And you know I can't swim." Well, she said, "You don't bring frogs home. You don't eat, I don't eat, and your children don't eat. We's all going to starve. You's got to get back out there and get us some frogs. Or else." "Or else what?" he said. "Or else I'm going to hit you with this broomstick again." "Oh," he said, "all right." He went back out on the back porch and he grabbed his sack and he headed on down the big road to the river to see if he could get some more frogs. He was muttering to himself, "Here he comes, here he comes. What am I going to do? They's gone wild. I don't know what to do." He looks down the road, and there's his good friend, Brer Rabbit, coming back from fishing. Brer Rabbit sings out, "Ho there, Brer Raccoon, how you doing this fine day?" And Brer Rabbit says, "Not so good, not so good." "Oh, what's the problem?" says Brer Rabbit. So he tells them all about the frogs, and here he comes, and here he comes, and he can't catch frogs, and the broomstick. Well, says Brer Rabbit, you know what you need? No, he says, what do I need? He said, you need a plan. A plan? He says, yes, sir, you need a plan, and you're in luck. I'm the best planner that's ever planned a plan. I'm going to sit right down here in the big road, and I'm going to think you up one. Well, with that, Brer Rabbit went over to the tree and flung his fish over the limb of the tree, came back and sat down in the middle of the road. He sat there for a long time. He was quiet. He got kind of an itch behind his ear. He got to scratch the itch. And then he got an itch behind his other ear. Well, then he got an itch behind both ears, and that's when he fell over on the ground. He says, I got it. You do? You do? Yeah, I got it. Come on over here. We got to be quiet. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do, shh, shh. We don't want anybody to hear. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is go down to the river. Yeah, go to the river. Yeah. Then, yeah. When you get to the river, when I get to the river, when you get to the river, I want you to fall down dead. Do what? I don't want to die. I just want to have some frogs for dinner. Shh, said Brer Rabbit. We've got to be quiet. We don't want anybody to know. You're not really going to die. You're just going to pretend to die. Then you're going to leave the rest to me. Oh, said Brer Raccoon. Well, that sounds like a good plan. I don't understand it, but it sounds like a good plan. All right then, let's go. Well, sir, Brer Raccoon, he started down the big road down to the river, and Brer Rabbit, he stayed back. Brer Raccoon could hear that bullfrog calling out as he got closer. Here he comes. Here he comes. Here he comes. Oh, he didn't care. He had himself a plan. He went down by the river. He could see all them little frogs swimming around in the water. Well, sir, that's when he commenced to dying. He fell on the ground. Well, he was laying there for a while when along came Brer Rabbit. And Brer Rabbit saw him lying there and he started to cry. Oh, he said, my good friend Brer Raccoon's gone and died. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, it's awful. Now, the frogs, they weren't paying too much attention to what was going on. As a matter of fact, it took Brer Raccoon so long to die, they didn't even care. But when Brer Rabbit got there, well, they came up to the edge of the water and they said, what's going on? What's wrong? Well, sir, said Brer Rabbit, my good friend Brer Raccoon's died. And he told me that his best wish when he passed away was for me to bury him here by the river. So I's got to dig him a grave. I's got to dig him a deep grave. Oh, said the frogs, let us help. Yeah, let us help. Well, sir, all them little frogs came out of the water and they had all their little frog shovels and they circled around where Brer Raccoon was lying and they commenced to digging. And they were throwing sand this way and that way and up and down. Well, sir, they got down about 3 feet and the big old bullfrog jumped up on Brer Raccoon's chest and he called up out of the hole. Is it deep enough? Is it deep enough? Is it deep enough? Well, Brer Rabbit, he wandered on over from the shade where he was standing and he looked down in the hole and he said, can you fellers jump out of there? Believe we can. Believe we can. Yep, we can jump out. Yeah, no problem. Yep. Well, sir, said Brer Rabbit, it's not deep enough. You've got to dig deeper. Well, they commenced to digging again, and they were throwing sand this way and that way, and some of it got out, some of it fell back in, but they got down another foot. Well, that's when the big old bullfrog, he jumped up on Brer Raccoon's chest again, and he called up out of the hole. Is it deep enough? Is it deep enough? The little frogs, they were getting tired. Is it deep enough? Is it deep enough yet? Well, Brer Rabbit, he wandered on over from the shade again. He looked down in, he said, you fellers jump out? Believe we can. Believe we can, Little Frog said. Yeah, I think so, yeah. Well, sir, that hole's not deep enough. He's got to keep digging. Well, those poor frogs, they were tired. But they kept digging. They were throwing dirt up and sand up and everything this way and that way. And, oh, they were exhausted. They were leaning against the side of the hole. And the big old bullfrog, he jumped up on Brer Raccoon's forehead and he called up out of the hole one more time. Is it deep enough? Is it deep enough? Brer Rabbit, he come on over from the shade tree again. He looked down, he said, you fellas jump out? The bullfrog, he took a good look around this time and he said, no, we can't. No, we can't. And the little one said, no, oh, I can't jump. No, I can't get out. Well, that's when Brer Rabbit said, wake up, Brer Raccoon, and get your dinner. They's all too tired to jump out of the hole. Brer Raccoon, he jumped up and grabbed his sack, and he started catching frogs and putting them in the sack. He got the sack nice and full and threw it over his shoulder, stuck out his claws and climbed out of the hole. He ran home and he put the sack on the back of the porch, and his wife came out and said, "Ooh, frogs!" And they had enough frogs to last them all that winter, and the next one too. And that's the story of how Brer Rabbit outsmarted the frogs.